So that is the thing, Sammy. That's why we don't get too worked up this early in training camp. Luther Burden III out there looking great. You know, a lot of people. This is the thing. Like, it's not only a Bears thing. I found this out over the last couple of days. Is that, you know, as somebody who supports Arsenal, I know that freaking out over training camp stuff, preseason games, is not uniquely American. It is a thing that is done by fan bases all over the world in a wide variety of sports. And so there really isn't too much to get upset about, although it was nice watching the Lions. I know it means nothing. I know that Trey Lance is not going to the Hall of Fame, but still, watching the Lions get smoked like that at the beginning of the season, and the Bears won last year, and it meant 5 games for us. So really, there's nothing to be said about that. So, Sammy, let's just go ahead and start the show.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast with Adam Rank.
It's Hester trying to work it back to the middle. Gets past the first wave, and here he goes. It's Hester inside the 30. Hester's going to take it all the way for a touchdown. And no flag, 92 yards.
The sickest Chicago Bears and fantasy football podcast. Sports entertainment like no other. It's gonna be sick.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the weekend edition of the Sick Podcast with Adam Ranks. Great show here for you this weekend. The Bears are off on Friday when we're recording this, so we felt there was an opportunity to go and track down some people and get some insight into what is happening at training camp, and also a special treat too. We're going to be talking a little bit about the movies. Yeah, Happy Gilmore is out, and I am a huge fan. Everybody knows that I love Adam Sandler. I love all his movies, so we're going to get an opportunity to talk about that at the end of the show. But right now, I think it's important to talk about some of the progress that's been going on with training camp, and to do that, we are going to be turning to our friend from the Marquee Sports Network. He does a great job for them. Scott Bair rejoins the program at looks like a residence inn, and I'm guessing Deerfield. How are you, Scott?
Yeah, scenic and lovely Deerfield. It's the land of 10,000 chain restaurants, and I'm trying to visit every one. You know, I've heard that this Chili's is way better than the Chili's in Waukegan, okay? But I'm going to sample them all. I'm going to get it done. Training camp is a marathon, not a sprint.
Did Justin not give you a rental car too? Like, drive around, man. Go. There's a place. I've stayed at that. I've stayed in that area before. If you go across the road there to Wheeling, there will be there's a mom and pop pizza place called Joe's Pizza, and there's a bowling alley in the same strip mall. It is the perfect. I don't know if the perfect place in the world exists. That was pretty close.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have very many off days. I'm even doing Cubs games these days, but I feel like I should splurge every now and then. But this is training camp for me too, Adam. I got to stay focused. Yeah. I have my beeline from my hotel, 12 minutes down Waukegan Road, turn left on Kennedy. I'm right at Hallis Hall. Lots of interesting stuff going on. Nothing terribly dramatic, but I think that's just fine with me, to be honest with you. And I think that's just fine for Ben Johnson.
Yeah, what has been the vibe? Because I know early on, and you heard this a lot from the national media, that it didn't feel like it was going well for the Bears. And we had Greg Braggs on of CHGO Wednesday night, and he talked about the improvement, and he even put out a detailed report yesterday. Feels like things are starting to click a little bit for the Chicago Bears. What's it been like over the last few days?
Yes, one thing for Bears fans to kind of think about as you're reading these reports, right? We're trapped in a vortex, as in training camp practices are they're every 24 hours, but it feels like it's one long day, basically, just from one camp to a press conference to writing stories and back and forth. And sometimes that you tend to forget, oh, this is only Caleb Williams' third, fourth, fifth practice of this training camp. So I really try to be measured in the evaluations of what he's doing right, what he's doing wrong. I think Ben Johnson is doing a good job of that too. All that being said, caveats now complete, right? On Thursday, see, I don't even know what day it is.
Yes.
On Thursday, Caleb Williams had his best day. He made some signature Caleb Williams throws. We're starting to see little improvements, but we're also still seeing him checking out of a play and getting a delay of game. We're seeing an end of game scenario where he's throwing darts all over the field, gets down within scoring distance, throws an interception, right? That there is some inconsistencies that need to get worked out. But we also have to remember that Caleb Williams is being asked to do so much new footwork, new under center responsibilities, play action, new schemes, incredibly long play calls. Like my hands don't fit on the screen how long it takes him to spit these play calls out. There's so much new. He took a lot of heat from people that have come there one day, like national guys come there one day. They see him don't do well, then they go on the Rich Eisen show or something like that and say, he looked terrible. Okay, well, maybe in that one instance, but he's got to learn how to crawl and then walk and then run and then frickin' sprint. And he's got to get there by week 1. This is part of the progression. I'm not panicked. He's not, quote unquote, locked in and invincible yet. I don't care what you read, but he's making progress. That's a good thing. We're seeing more of the natural Caleb Williams of late, and that's a positive. I look at that joint practice against the Dolphins. That's my first litmus test. Everything before then, it's all a part of the, kind of taking the training wheels off. Once we get to the joint practices, he cannot get worked by the Dolphins. Full stop and period.
Yeah, that would be the red flag that we see coming out. And I think, David Carr mentioned on Wednesday, because he obviously irritated a lot of Bears fans this week, going on NFL Network. And again, he talks, you get 30 seconds. You get a minute and a half. Predict the order of the NFC North. You don't really get an opportunity to dive deep, but he was able to join the show. And I liked a lot of what he was saying. And I think it echoes the sentiments you are too. One of my favorite quotes that he had, though, was that he wanted Caleb Williams to be boring, which I mean, take the easy throw sometimes. Yeah. Don't be afraid. Don't feel like everything has to be a highlight reel play. Are we seeing a little bit more of that? Did you see that on Thursday where it's like, hey, you know what? Maybe you will take the check down. Maybe you will take the short throw underneath. Are we seeing a little bit more of that out of Caleb over the last couple of days?
There was a play that absolutely stands out. As you were talking about it, I immediately went to Thursday. He had a 3rd down and 4 or 5 or something like that. And he had Olamide Zaccheaus kind of running an intermediate route. That was a low percentage play. He was well covered. And then he had Cole Kmet just sitting there in the flat, picking daisies, hanging out all by himself. And I think old Caleb would have been like, I can thread the needle. Watch me work. And he looked at it, and you could tell he was like, I'm going to let it go. I'm going to let it go. Okay, there we go. And guess what? He ditched it to Cole Kmet. It was a completion. He went for 5 or 6. He got the 1st down, lived to fight another day. Sometimes those things last year, I remember watching games. I'm sure you felt the same way. We were like, DeAndre Swift is just sitting there in space. Take it, bro. Just take it. I think he's doing more of that. Again, that's a sign of good coaching. It's hard coaching. Yeah. And at times I think fans think all he's doing is yelling at Caleb, and that's not necessarily true either. But inattention to detail will not be tolerated. That might be a double negative. But what I'm trying to say is every little detail matters. Ben Johnson and Declan Doyle let you get away with nothing.
Yeah, and that's what we want. And that's exactly what the Bears fans were clamoring for when they were hiring a new coach, is we got to have accountability. We have coaches. We need coaches that'll, make them, own up to their mistakes, and which is exactly what we're seeing. So you can't get soft now. You can't be like, well, no, it's too much. No, you got to go after it. And I like what we're seeing. Actually, can we bring up this quote too? Because Caleb Williams did talk about pressure the other day. And forgive me, I got to go. Yeah, no. I look like Homer Simpson when he's trying to be smart. Pressure is not a thing for me. It's not my job to care what the outside noise is and things like that. My job is to take care of everything and go out there and play. So, take it for what you want, but no pressure is prevalent. Pressure is a privilege, but that the situation that I'm at, I don't think that I have pressure. I know Trey Wingo was like, that's a word salad, but I kind of get what he's talking about here. I know this is from, by the way, this is from Waddle and Sylvie. This wasn't at a press conference. So hat tip to Waddle and Sylvie for getting this 1-on-1 or 2-on-1 with Caleb Williams. What do you make of that quote? Because I understand where people are like, he's saying too many words, but at the same time, I kind of get what he's going after.
One, that's just the way he talks. Sometimes he just ebbs and flows, and trying to transcribe him, you need long dashes and semicolons and all these types of things. I think people forget that there's a dividing line, and it happened a couple years ago. This might launch a philosophical conversation, but he's a true modern NIL quarterback, right? He was a top recruit. He went to a big program school in Washington, D.C. He was living by himself. He went to Oklahoma and USC and was in the limelight and lived in a penthouse apartment in downtown Los Angeles when he was a college kid, right?
Yeah.
It is a different life for him, and pressure when you know from the time you're a junior, the odds are good you're going to be the number 1 overall pick, and you got people like me hounding him all the time. He's used to that environment. He's used to the pressure cooker. He's used to everybody looking at him all the time and having this money and feeling these types of things. And I think he's just comfortable with it.
Yeah.
I think it's just the way that it is for quarterbacks now. It's not like some of these guys have been sheltered and outside the limelight and nobody knows them. It's just a different thing. So I buy that he doesn't feel the pressure. I do think in terms of external, I do think he feels pressure from Ben Johnson every single day.
Yeah.
That pressure is real, because if you don't get it right, we've seen this on more than one occasion with Caleb Williams, with the first team offense, Luther Burden. You don't get the detail right, you're out.
Yeah.
That's it. And it's not that Ben Johnson's mad at you. He just doesn't have time for mistakes. He's on a schedule, man. So if you don't get it right, you don't get the rep. So I think there's internal pressure from the coaching staff to try to get better. Ben Johnson keeps calling this a race, right? They're not ready for primetime week 1. You better get ready, or you're going to get embarrassed on national television by a quarterback who hasn't even had an NFL start, right? There is pressure in that. I just don't know if he cares about, guys like us going on and evaluating his game.
Yeah, that's very true. I think he's always been that way. And if and I followed him closely when he was at USC, more so than when he was at Oklahoma. And it's the same vibe and it's the same thing. And he's unapologetic in a lot of ways. And you really appreciate it about that. You mentioned Luther Burden there a moment ago. Let's dive into that for a second. I love the way that he's been able to rebound. Again, for anybody who lived through the last couple of years, where we've had injuries and guys not practicing, and you're trying to figure out what's going on, like with Tevin Jenkins, like it was a thing. And Luther Burden to go out there, not only he goes out, gets pulled from a rep, as you mentioned there a second ago, but now looks pretty dope. What are we thinking about Luther Burden III?
I'm going to lean on Ben Johnson here, and he mentioned that his playing speed pops off on tape, right? There's a lot of guys that run really fast 40-yard dashes.
Yeah.
Luther Burden ran a 4.41. That's pretty darn good. But his play speed, he looks fast when he's running routes, when he's cutting, when he's making those types of decisions. He did a thing where he cut a ball on the sideline. He was running towards the sideline. A safety was going to come up and hit him. He stopped on a dime, kind of did like a twinkle toes sort of tap dancer move, and then kept going. That's play speed. This guy has that. Now, is he going to have it, I don't know, tomorrow or something? Can he stay healthy? Will his practice habits continue? Maybe, maybe not, right? He's still learning this offense, but it was encouraging to see. He was the best wide receiver on the field on Thursday. And the field included Rome Odunze and DJ Moore, right? He just was. He's quick. He's active. Sometimes when you're running, and he made a catch. Again, this is practice, people. Practice, not a game. We're talking about practice. But he had like a crosser, kind of like an over route across the field, and Caleb Williams led him just a little bit too much, and he caught it with his fingertips and found a way to retain it as he was going out of bounds. These little things that you see. I've been watching a lot of football for a long time, and you see sometimes you're like, that's a special characteristic, right? Yeah. Will it translate to games? Will it translate when when a top cornerback is pressing him? Can he deal with that? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But we're seeing signs of special. We're seeing signs of 39 may have been too low for this guy. But we're going to need to see it over and over and over again.
Yeah, I love it. I'm so excited for him. He's one of the, as much as we love Colston Loveland and everybody else, really excited about Luther Burden III. I'm going to hit you with one last question before we get you back out the door to be able to enjoy your off day. You know what? I don't know if people are talking enough about the defense. We keep talking about the left tackle and Colston Loveland and Luther Burden III and obviously Caleb. The defense, Dennis Allen, I think that this is going underreported. Like, it feels like the Bears defense can be something special this year.
Yeah, so I'm so old that I covered a 40-year-old Dennis Allen when he was head coach of the Oakland Raiders. So old that they've had a billion head coaches since then, and they are no longer in Oakland. But back then, his defense was good, but kind of formulaic. And over time, you can see that he loves defensive backs, and he loves being creative like with them. His base is not a 4-3. His base is essentially a 4-2-5. And if you let him put 11 defensive backs out there, he might as well do it, right?
Right.
But here's the interesting thing that I want fans to keep an eye on. Not only does he like being creative with defensive backs, you need a good, versatile defensive back to be creative with. He has two. He has Jaquan Brisker and Kyler Gordon. He's mentioned both of those guys by name, and those guys are everywhere. They are true queens on the chessboard, roving chess pieces that will go in any direction. And sometimes you think, they're playing dime. They're light up front. Not when you have run defenders like Brisker and Gordon, not guys who can blitz the passer or drop back into zone coverage or play. They can do everything. Dennis Allen is taking advantage of that. One other thing of note, too, is Tremaine Edmonds, right? Nobody likes tackles anymore. The stat is antiquated. So if you have 125 tackles, like, nobody cares. Tremaine Edmonds is a large dude, and Dennis Allen likes three things. He likes length, height, and speed. Guess what Tremaine Edmonds has? All three of those things. Yeah. And that's another guy that he's taking advantage of in the middle of the park. And I think that those three guys are guys to keep an eye on, guys that Dennis Allen has called explosive playmakers, guys that I think are going to be difference makers in the interior of that defense. It's so fun to watch those guys work. They may not be flashy names like Montez Sweat or Jalen Johnson, right? But those three guys are going to be the linchpin to this defense. Fans should keep an eye on number 9, number 6, number 49. Trust me on that one.
All right. Well, that sounds good. Well, listen, I want to thank you so much for joining us here today. If you get a chance, I know what time it is out there in the Chicagoland area.
Lunchtime, baby.
Joe's Pizza. You got to check it out. But in any event, check out the great work at Marquee Sports Network. Not only is Scott on the beat for the Chicago Bears, he's also watching the Chicago Cubs, or following the Cubs, or covering the Cubs as they make their push towards the postseason, getting rid of those ridiculous Brewers. But listen, Scott, thank you so much for being here, and I hope to see you soon.
Yeah, of course, man. Anytime. Thanks for the vine.
And we really appreciate Scott Bair coming on to give us some insight from Bears camp. By the way, as we were doing that interview, should point out, Micah Parsons has now requested a trade from the Dallas Cowboys. He's made it official. He actually said goodbye to the Cowboys on Twitter. It has gotten serious. And Kyle Long tweeted this out just a moment ago. And it's one of those things, like, when you think of like acquiring a player late, you're like, oh, this is Khalil Mack. Now, I don't think that the Cowboys would deal. I don't think they're going to deal Micah Parsons. And if they do, he's not going into the NFC, but does bring back a lot of great memories with Khalil Mack. And then when he came over in 2018, I thought for sure the Bears were going to win a crown. Well, they did win a divisional crown. And here's the thing. You can play fantasy football, or you can go out there and rule it. Yes, you can own it. Too many fantasy leagues walk away with a plastic trophy or a sad little group chat. Oh, good game, everybody. But listen, that ain't it. We're talking about crown champs, baby. Custom championship crowns. We're talking crowns, scepters, rings, robes, all the kind of stuff that shows everybody that you are fantasy royalty. Well, don't just sit there and tell people, have a little belt. The belt is played out. Now we need to do crowned champs. You wear a crown with a scepter, with a dope robe, and you look amazing. So here's the thing. Next time you're at Applebee's or whatever, you don't want to sit there and just tell the waitress that you are a fantasy football champion. You want to show them by wearing a crown. Go to crownchamps.com, and you know what? You sign up. There's a sign up there. You can actually win these. So you can either pay for one or you can try to win one. It doesn't matter. Go to crownchamps.com. And you won't be disappointed. By the way, when you're watching the game, forget Applebee's. Where's your next game day spot going to be? Listen, if you are a real Chicago sports fan, not talking Bears, Bulls, Hawks, Cubs, White Sox, then you need to be watching the game at Twisted Shamrock. This place is the place for game day. They got TVs everywhere. Giant screens, whether you're in the bar, the patio, you're in a private room, doing whatever. doing whatever, Twisted Shamrock has got you covered. Great prices, great people. If you go there, listen, you could watch a game anywhere, but you want to be hanging out with great people. The folks at Twisted Shamrock have the best customer service. I want to be taken care of more than anything. I mean, drink specials are nice. I want to be taken care of. And when you go to Twisted Shamrock, you will definitely be taken care of. So thank you so much for our sponsors. We appreciate you. And it allows us to do things like this. Now, obviously, there's some football news, but the Bears are off. Everybody knows that I love comedy. I've done comedy. I still do comedy. I love it. I love the movies. I love all sorts of things. So we're going to do something a little bit special here today. So I wanted to do something. Now, we went out there. We found a young man who is on the rise in the world of comedy. You might know him from such movies as Grown Ups 2. He was one of the writers and appeared in the movie Home Team, the Sean Payton story about when he went out there and he coached his son's team when he was on suspension from Bountygate and all that stuff. And now this guy is taken off. He's going to be in a Snickers commercial coming up. He's got a Subway commercial coming up. He just sold a script to Netflix called 80K to Blow. But more importantly, he just got beat up by Adam Sandler in the latest Happy Gilmore. So please welcome to the show. We're very excited to have him, Chris Titon, who is joining. What's up, brother?
What's up, Adam? Thanks for having me, man.
Oh my God!
I heard we were talking about the crowns.
Oh, the crowns are dope. Like I listen. They're a cool little thing. Like you want, and it's not as it's actually a decent size that you can sneak away, putting it in the mantle. To show everybody that you want a fantasy football type. Do you play? Are you a fantasy football guy, by the way?
I've played. I'm not playing this year, but I've played and I've lost every single year. And it's so much dedication just for disappointment.
Yeah, it is. There is so much work to it. I always describe it to people as it's not like you're not happy. You're relieved when you win and you're devastated when you lose. It is.
Yeah,
really
there's no happiness. There's no happiness. It really sucks when you have you put guys in Saturday night and then Sunday morning they get hurt right before the game, during stretch.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's my job. I got to sit there on Sunday mornings, tell people the inactives come out. Listen, if you ever want to dive back into a league, hook up with me. Because Josh is my guy too. Josh, who helped set up this interview. I will help you out. I will do whatever it takes to help you finally achieve championship glory, and we'll get a crown for you, and it'll be a whole big thing. But
I just want the crown. Can we skip all this and just go to the crown?
You can just go buy one. The next time you show up on set, just be sitting there wearing it, being like, hey, what's going on? But listen, Happy Gilmore 2 is out, and it's fantastic. It's obviously everything that I always wanted it to be. You get beaten up pretty early in this movie. Was there some malice? You did a great job, but was there malice? Is there something wrong? Because
I've been in a bunch of Adam movies, and every single, most of them at least, he's hurting me in some way, whether he's dumping popcorn in my head or tripping me, pushing me down. This movie, he literally overhand rights me and then slams my head into a Ferrari 5 times, I think.
It was aggressive. I'm like, oh, poor Chris. He's really going to work. What was this movie like? Because obviously it's been 30 years since the original Happy Gilmore came out. You had to be a child when this movie came out. You couldn't have been older than 10 when this movie came out.
I'm older than I look. I was 13. Okay. And I remember buying a ticket and then sneaking into the next showing. So to be in the sequel is bananas, bro. It's wild. I've been talking about Happy Gilmore 1 for so long. I kind of we heard about it at Happy Madison. It might happen, maybe, and all of a sudden we were shooting. It was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I bet he has been pitched an idea for this over many, many years, because to my recollection, and I consider myself an Adam Sandler movie aficionado, I recently just did a list of my favorite Adam Sandler movies, and
what was number 1?
You know what's funny is it changes every time. I did have Happy Gilmore number 1, but I really love Billy Madison.
Do you include the dramas? Do you include Uncut Gems and Spanglish?
Was that supposed to be it? No, I'm just kidding. I do like to differentiate them because Uncut Gems is such a different movie. Like,
how do you put it on the same list as like Billy?
I know, right? I believe that I put it as comedies because everybody was Punch Drunk Love is another one where people are like, hey, did you? I'm like,
yeah,
it's different. I'm okay.
It's different.
More Happy Madison type thing. Oh, you were also in That's My Boy.
Yeah,
which I thought was real. I thought that was really clever. I really like that's one. That's like when there's hills that you die on. Like That's My Boy is one where I'm like, you know what? That's better than people gave it credit for. I thought it was really.
That's
clever.
A really good movie. I do. Well, I was supposed to do a Boston accent in it, and I did it like my first day. And Adam heard it, and he came over to me. He goes, "Don't ever do that again." I was like, got it. So I have an American accent.
It's the same thing that happened to Kevin Costner in 13 Days. They're like, well, drop the Boston accent. It's not working out for you. But
Boston's hard. It's really easy to screw up.
It is much more difficult than people give it credit for. I used to do when we were doing something for NFL.com years ago, I had to play a janitor from Boston, and it's so difficult, and it took so much time, and even learning words like bubbler. Like you almost have to be purposely mispronouncing words for that to work.
Yeah, and then within that community, like if you're from Dorchester versus Southie, they know from your accent.
It's so true. Like it is one of those things where like, wait a minute, you weave in and out. Like I was doing a what I thought was a Scottish accent one time. And somebody's like, oh, well, you started sounding like you came from Newcastle. And I'm like, okay,
why do you sound like you have a stroke?
Something like that. But it's tough. It's very difficult. But what was like, so I love Sandler movies, but this one,
dude, same.
But this one was great because I love playing golf as well. And the amount of cameos that you saw in it from the PGA players and the live guys as well. Like, does that just speak to how much that meant to kids growing up? When you look at this, like every major name in golf wanted to be a part of this movie. Does that just say like what a great movie Happy Gilmore was originally?
Yeah, everyone wanted to be involved. You got the PGA guys playing themselves. Bad Bunny has a really funny role. Travis Kelce has a funny role. Eminem got in there. Post Malone's in there. Dude, I think there's like 72 cameos total, and it was just easy yeses. You want to be in Happy Gilmore too? What day?
Yeah, it's really astonishing how many people wanted to do it. And were you able to hang out like on some of the days when you weren't going? Was it still one of those things where you're like, oh, I just happened to find myself on set. Oh, here's Rory McIlroy or something.
Yeah, there was a lot of that. I mean, they took over a golf course every day, so it was fun. After we finished shooting, I shot a Subway commercial with Shooter McGavin with Christopher McDonald.
Okay,
that was really cool. I got to hang with him a little bit. I hung with Bad Bunny at the premiere. Was last Monday in New York. That was fun. Bad Bunny's. Dude, he's really funny.
Is he? Is he cool?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
He's hilarious. He's really funny.
That's the part I do that too. I love. So we go to like Super Bowls, we do stuff like that, and I'll see, whenever there's something being promoted. If Adam, because a couple of times Adam came on a show we were doing for NFL.com, but anytime you're at the Super Bowl and people are out there pitching their movies and pitching their products, I love hanging out for that atmosphere. I really dig that. And I feel like, Chris, like you really appreciate like, hey man, like, I don't know when I'm going to be able to hang out with Bryson DeChambeau ever again, but I'm going to go out there and take advantage of it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very creative, avenue. You got to do everything you can right now and hopefully it sticks. And if it doesn't, it's okay. Cause tomorrow there's gonna be something else.
Yeah, for sure. Are you now I know that you're from South Florida. You're living in Los Angeles right now. Are you a big football guy at all?
No, not really. I was always kind of like an artsy kind of dude. But I guess I'm Dolphins Marlins.
Right.
I don't know. I've met who's the Sean McVay? He was very nice.
Okay.
Is he still at the Rams?
Yeah, he's the coach of the Rams. Yeah, for sure.
All right. So maybe I'm a Rams fan. I mean, they're right there. They're like right there.
So you're right. Okay, you're right close. Okay, yeah. So you're up in like near Agora Hills and all that stuff. They have a great organization. So it is pretty cool. And it's one of the great things about being in South Florida too, is that you can just glom onto the teams whenever they're good. I think that's actually sometimes people being a diehard, like sometimes doesn't make sense. Like why
Yeah,
wouldn't
don't be
I
a diehard fan of something that's 2 years old, you crazy person.
Yeah, right. Like you're like, what
Did
am I?
the Chargers just get here?
Yeah, right. Yeah, the Chargers just arrived a couple of years ago, although they were originally from Los Angeles. So there is a little bit of a
I mean, I'll tell you what, man. I'm without a team. I'm looking for a team. If you know a good one.
I was going to suggest you come to the Chicago Bears, but I don't know. It's a lot of heartache. Didn't
you guys have the kicker problem?
We did, yeah. The double doink a couple of years ago. Thanks.
And then you had like the coach put out a thing in the paper, like whoever can kick. That was fun, man. That's cool.
That was a dark time for us, but yeah, it was
I'm sure
cool.
It was a dark time for like actual Chicagoans.
Chicagoans, yeah.
But man, I thought it was so cool that you're like, we just want the best. We don't care where it comes from. We want a good kicker.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, I don't care who it is, what sport you played or anything like that. And it always feels like whenever there's a movie, and I think of like a movie like The Replacements, like, oh, the kicker's from England.
Yeah, he's a British soccer player.
Did necessary
that'll do, big.
Like necessary roughness.
But that's kind of Happy Gilmore. I remember Adam saying that as a kid, he would go to the driving range with his dad, and he would bring his buddy, and his buddy was like a hockey player, and he would drive the crap out of the ball, and the dad would say, "You got that hockey swing. When you drive, you got that hockey swing. That's why it flies." And that made Adam go, "Oh, maybe Happy Gilmore's the thing."
No, and it's I mean, obviously, just such a great premise, and it's one of those things. And again, reaches so many other people, and everybody loves it. Not just the golfing community, but anybody, and it's just so amazing to see it come together and be back on the big screen and everything. And it's got to be such a thrill to be a part of it. Now, we did talk about the script you sold to Netflix. What do you got? Do you also do stand up, or do you spend a lot of time doing writing too?
I did stand up for a while, and then I started writing for Adam. I wrote Kevin James's last movie, Paul Blart, that guy, but not Paul Blart, but I wrote Home Team. It was like a kid football movie, and then I just sold a new script called 80K to Blow. It's very Hangover type of vibe, and we're gonna shoot that in Miami in like 5-6 months.
Oh man, that sounds cool. If you need a fantasy football analyst or a Bears fan, you know that I'm always available. But
I always need a Bears fan.
If you ever do, I can go do the action and everything. I do want to ask about the Home Team because my host on NFL Fantasy Live, Patrick Claybon, and I actually reference this movie all the time. It's one of our favorites.
That's great.
It is, yeah. And what was it? How did you get to be a part of that? Like, obviously, it's an interesting story for somebody who's not necessarily a huge football fan. The idea of a guy being suspended from the NFL, goes to coach his son's team. It seems like this would never happen in real life, and yet it did. What was that experience like?
Well, I pitch ideas to Adam. He knows what's going to fly and what's not, what's good, what's bad. So I'm pitching ideas, and after 3 months, he finally says, "What about this story?" So he kind of picked it more than I did. Okay. And then I wrote it out. I mean, I wrote it out as a father-son story. Football was kind of the background.
Yeah.
I wanted a good movie first, and then you add football, and it's like, here we go. Yeah,
and that was the best part of it. And Kevin James playing Sean Payton. How did you guys come up with Kevin James? I
wrote it for Kevin James. I literally wrote it. I was like, well, who do I have access to? I got Adam, Schneider, David Spade, Kevin James, Drew Barrymore, Aniston. Like, I only had a few people I could send it to that would even get it in their inbox. So I wrote it for KJ. I gave it to Adam. Adam was like, "I'll give it to KJ if you want." So he gives it to KJ. 2 days later, that was it. KJ says yes, and we're green lit. He's just such a movie star.
Yeah, for sure. Oh my gosh, that guy, his stand-up's amazing. His King of Queens is on like any time of day. You can go watch that. So it was such
a week ago, he dropped his new movie. It's him and Christina Ricci in Italy, I think. I forget what it's called, but I'm excited to see that. I haven't seen it yet.
And I heard he was one of the nicest guys too. So that
dude, he's the nicest.
Yeah. He was like going through the Super Bowl thing. You see him around, and I haven't seen him since he's done this movie, unfortunately, because he plays Sean Payton. Sean Payton at one point was a Bears quarterback before he became the coach and of the New Orleans Saints and everything like that. So I'm like, there's a Chicago. I'm always looking for like the Chicago connection and everything like that. But it was a really well done. Really appreciate it.
I've been to Chicago. Really good food. Really good food, dude. It's the best.
It's the best. It's the best. That's why I had to move out of there so I could be skinny again. But it's just one of those things. But listen, Chris, Happy Gilmore too. Amazing success. Looking forward to all your future work.
Thanks, man.
Please, anytime you want to come on the show, you have an open invitation. And please, sincerely, and Josh Rimmer, who's the PR agent behind all this.
Yeah.
If you want to play fantasy football, let them know. I will sincerely help you and do whatever I can to help you get. And if not, I'll just buy you the crown, and then we can just go about it that way.
Or I mean, are you in a league that's free or no? Are you?
If I have okay. I'm sure I have an open spot somewhere. If I have an open spot and I offer it to you, will you take it?
No, I'm not. I'm sorry.
He said
that. You know what I want though? You know what I want? Is lunch with you. That would be fun if we met up and had chicken tacos. Let's do that. You're in LA too, right?
100%. Yeah. We'll be going back. I've been doing a lot of stuff from remote, but once we get back into the studio, for NFL Fantasy Live, let's do it. Let's hook it up. I'll have Josh.
What's in the middle of it? Venice? Venice is right in the middle?
Yeah, that'd be perfect.
Perfect. Let's meet for chicken tacos, man.
Oh, I love it. You don't have to ask me twice. We'll do that for sure. But Chris, such a pleasure. I'm so excited we were able to do this. Thank you so much for taking the time on a Friday to come out and hang out with us. We really appreciate you. And
Adam, thanks for having me, man. It was awesome.
Anytime. Let's not be strangers. And I'll just, we'll just wrap it up here. So for Chris, I'm Adam, and Sammy, go ahead and play us out.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Adam Rank on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.